Okay, it looks like we are good to go ahead and get started. Thank you so much again for joining us today for the Asian Business Association Club Chat. My name is Allie and I'm a member of the admissions committee here at CBS. We are super excited to get to know you a little bit better today. I'm joined by two of our current students, Jesse and Ethan, who are going to tell you all about the club and who are going to be able to answer any questions that you have on your mind. So I'm going to turn it over to them for their introductions and an overview of the club, and then we will go into Q&A from there. Jesse, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, of course. Thanks, Allie. Hi, everyone. My name is Jessie. I am originally from Suzhou, China, born and raised. Came to the States for college and pursued a career in economic consulting, and came into CBS trying to pivot into management consulting or venture capital. So did a couple of internships in startups and did a summer internship in a management consulting firm. Really liked my experience, think about going back there. Ethan and I are currently the co-president for ABA, that we wanted to tell you more about the club, what we do, and to help any prospective Asian students to join CBS or, in any way that we can help you possible. And fun fact, I really like Popeyes and I've been eating a lot of them. It's really not healthy, but I really, really like them. I had it like every other day or on a weekly basis, so you can probably see it on my face. But yeah, with that note, I'm going to pass it to Ethan.
Thank you, Jesse. Hey, everyone. My name is Ethan Liu. I originally came from Jilin, China, which is the northeastern province. Very cold weather. So I was kind of used to New York before I even got here. Moved to Memphis, Tennessee when I was 13 years old. Prior to CBS, I was doing consulting with Accenture, so a lot of IT strategy consulting, and post CBS, I'm planning to do investment management. So for my fun fact, I didn't put it on here, but I am also a very big fan of Popeyes. I was a little bit ashamed to admit it, but Jesse has inspired me to tackle my insecurities and admit that. I have a Popeyes right down the street, which is very bad for my health. So the other fun fact is that I've lived in 5 different countries and on 3 different continents. 6 different countries if you count Memphis, Tennessee as one of them, which I do. It's very different. So yeah, let's get into it. Maybe next slide. So what is the Asian Business Association? So we are an affinity club. I'm sure most of you guys are familiar with the professional clubs. Those are your banking, PE, marketing sort of clubs, and I'm sure you guys have researched those clubs very thoroughly, as you probably have to kind of weave those into your sort of admissions essay. But we're an affinity club. We take a little bit of a different approach to kind of offer you another aspect of your CBS experience. So we are obviously we're affinity based. We are personal interest based, and we're community based, right? So for ABA, we are a club that is really for anyone who is Asian, and then for anyone else who isn't Asian but is also interested in kind of learning about the Asian cultures and kind of become a part of this really fun, inclusive community through different events that we have. So I would say we can't really talk about ABA without talking about our culture, I would say, because we are a very, very inclusive, very open, and very friendly culture, and that's the case for the broader CBS as well. I would say we have a no sharp elbows. I almost said a word that would get me in trouble, but no sharp elbows culture, right? Everyone's very nice. We help each other. We're very collaborative, and you'll see this culture very pervasive throughout the CBS community. And we really live and die by our purpose, which is to create a community in which people can call home, and where they can make lifelong friends. So we do that through our events, right? So that you can see the benefit is that we have events. We provide a lot of opportunities for everyone to kind of mingle and hang out. And we'll talk about some of the events in the next slide. I'll kind of tell you guys some of my favorite events my first year, and as well as some of the events that we have this year as well. So leadership opportunities, right? So I would say the best way to get plugged in into ABA is through becoming a board member for ABA. We have 6 functional groups on the executive board, and in total 14 positions for VPs. And then we have we VPs are kind of the second year, right? The second year students who kind of get promoted from an AVP. So we also have 12 positions for AVP, and those are positions reserved for the first year students who are really interested in becoming, taking advantage of this opportunity to kind of lead certain initiatives, to kind of put on events and coordinate different events for ABA. So some of the groups include social, right? Our social chair does a lot of these really fun events, like we'll talk about them in the next slide. And we'll have finance, who's in charge of supporting all of our sort of in reimbursement, sort of budgeting, and et cetera, et cetera. And then we have an alumni outreach, which we'll talk about more, because I think a lot of you guys have interest in sort of learning about what are the network opportunities that is provided by joining ABA, right? So that's kind of ABA in a nutshell. Jesse, do you have anything to add?
No, I think you covered everything. Yeah. So in terms of the events, like what Ethan said, I think when we first decided to run for the co-president last year, or actually this year before COVID, is we wanted to really promote Asian presence on campus by either working with admissions, that's why we have this chat with you all, or working with other affinity groups to address any current situations that we've been experiencing since early this year. And other than that, we wanted to, like what Ethan said, we wanted to promote the community. I think ABA is probably one of the closest club I've experienced on campus. And so our event planning are going to be in threefold. First is the event planning. Like we're having a lot of like boat trips or network events or dumpling making classes. We just had one yesterday. To really build that connection through different people and bring a very strong network together under this very, very hard time, I'm sure, for every single one of us. So that's definitely the first thing we're trying to push forward. And second thing is the alumni outreach that Ethan said. It's a new program we're trying to roll out this year, is to really connect the people that's ABA alum, graduate from CBS, really want to contribute back to the CBS, because CBS overall is a very great community and people really, really wanted to contribute back. So we're having a lot of chat with alumni. Either they can be like a senior level of the company, or they can be a founder of the office. So if possible, post-COVID, we want to have more like office visit, alumni highlights, or alumni happy hours. And the third fold is really the external and the professional. Like external team that is really connecting ABA with the rest of the affinity clubs on campus. Like we not only wanted to really bring other Asian clubs together, like for example, Korean Business Association, Greater China Society, or Japanese Business Association, or even Southeast Asian Association, those Asian international clubs together. At the same time, we wanted to build a deep connection with like the Black Business Student Association or the Hispanic or Latino Student Association, to really unify together under this very, very hard time. So we've been currently in the talk with them to have panel events, network events, or presentations to not only promote us on campus, but also bring everyone together, because I think this is the best time for us to address issues and be part of the conversations and unify as a front for the CBS community in general. We'll talk more about events if you guys are interested. But these are the things we wanted to push forward. And of course, we will talk to other M7 school and other top MBA programs nearby to have network or social events with them as well. Like for example, I think every single year we have a Vegas trip with other top MBA schools for you to network and get to know other Asian students from other programs as well. So these are the focuses we're trying to push forward. Of course, open to suggestions. If you think there's anything more that you wanted to hear or want us to do about during your application process or as a prospective student, we're open to feedbacks. And this is something that we're really, really passionate about pushing forward in our CBS experience.
Did we mention that we were the largest affinity club on campus? Because we are. And we
Yeah, we have a lot of people.
we have the best events, objectively speaking.
We do. We do.
Great, great. Yeah, so here are some of the pre-submitted questions that you guys had. We want this to be very conversational. So if you guys have questions, you can type it in the Q&A or type in the chat. We're happy to kind of just have a dialogue, right? So first question: how does ABA utilize the network for growth and job networking opportunities during and post MBA? So I can go first. I think both Jesse and I alluded to sort of the alumni outreach club. Well, let me back up for a second. So I think I think the number one advice that I give people, prospective students that reach out to me, is that yes, you have to build your network, and people come to B school to kind of to build their professional network. And I would say the network is, you kind of have to nurture it, right? You never want to kind of tap into your network for very transactionally. You want to ask someone for help only when you need it, right? So I would say that kind of network is relatively weak in my experience. I found the strongest network is through friends, right? And friends of friends and friends of friends of friends. And I think ABA has offers the perfect opportunity for you to just kind of bond with people, really form that friendship, really form that relationship, so that so that your network becomes stronger. I can already tell you, all the people that are in the ABA, there's nobody I wouldn't really kind of to kind of not recommend a job for. If I see a posting, if I see a relevant sort of opportunity, I will definitely forward it to to the people that I've worked with or that I hung out with, because I know they're capable, and then I know that they're friendly. They sort of already passed the airplane test, as we call it in the consulting industry, right? So they already passed all the tests as far as I'm concerned. So it's very easy for me to recommend the people. So I would say ABA really kind of offers this perfect opportunity for you guys, for you to really get to know people and really become a part of this amazing community, right? So that's the kind of the overall what I would say for that. But more specifically, during your MBA journey here, Jesse alluded to the alumni outreach group, right? So this is a group that is brand new for us. Historically, we ABA, just to be very transparent, we historically have not done a great job of tapping into our network. When Jesse and I ran for president, like she said, we realized that just how big the ABA kind of alumni network truly is. I mean, we think about, this year we have over 300 members, right? So if you divide that by 2, so between 150 to 200 members per year, and you multiply that by however many classes that Columbia has had in the past. I mean, that's just tremendous number of people within the ABA network that we can potentially reach out to. So this year we have this new group, and then we have 2 new VPs and 2 new AVPs, kind of specifically are commissioned to tackle this opportunity, right? They're reaching out to alumni. We're going to invite them back to kind of hang out with us, to have happy hours with us, to the extent that we're allowed to, given the restriction. So we're definitely kind of building out that pipeline, so that we can hand it over to the next iterations of ABA, so that we can continue to build on it, right? And then post MBA, I think I just alluded to, is really the relationships and the bonds that you form with other people that's really going to take you far. And especially if you want, let's say if you want an international work internationally, we have such a diverse membership base in ABA. We have people who are from all over the place, and they're going to return to their respective countries after. So I mean, the network is not only I would say deep, but also expansive in terms of geographic reach as well. So yeah, so that's what I would say to that. Jesse, do you have anything to add?
That's a really good response. I think one thing I just wanted to add is it's coming from twofold. So if you're international, there are going to be opportunities overseas, like what Ethan said, and we'll work with CMC, we'll work with other Asian international clubs to really prepare you for this, because a lot of Asian, like people in the Pacific Asian job opportunities are normally, like some of them are normally not go through CMC, which is a career management center. So we'll have that opportunity. But as a, let's say, American Asian that wants to return to Asian Pacific or even stay in the US to find a job, we have a lot of people that's willing to help you. We have a career group, and I've reached out. I personally reached because I wanted to do VC, which is a little bit hard for, for everyone under COVID. And people are really willing to talk to me because I know they're ABA alum, and I personally know all the people that has graduated, and most of the people that is first year. So joining the ABA really built that connection, like Ethan says. I'm just not going to spend more time talking about, because I second everything Ethan has to say. Yeah.
Jesse, maybe I'll press you on that, because we have one of the students asking about the current environment, right? So has that changed your decision on career post business school in terms of location and job functions?
Oh, that is a good question. So I was primarily looking at consulting, because I'm international. So I think consulting is going to give me a visa. I'll just be very frank on that. But they're just, after talking to a lot of people from China, personally, a lot of people are coming from investing background, either in the secondary market or like the PVC. And you would know that Chinese landscape has been changing tremendously in the investing area. Like a lot of money are going there, a lot of things are happening. So after talking to those people, I realized that there's such a bigger world that I haven't been tapped into. So to be honest, that's why I'm switching, well, not really switching, that's why I'm exploring very heavily in the investing side, especially both in the US or in Asia. So I'll say under the current environment, US opportunity is pretty mature market. But if you look at Asia, there are just so many more opportunities out there that you will get exposure to, especially if you're in ABA. So that really changed my mindset a little bit going forward. I don't really know how that's going to pan out, but I've learned so much that I've never heard, like the stories I've never heard before, and it was just very mind-blowing.
Great. So let's see. Yeah, maybe I'll answer one of the other questions in the chat. So during the application process, how did you differentiate yourself from all other Asian applicants? So, I would say that, I mean, this is a tough question, right? So I would say that for me, I just, I can't change the fact that, what my nationality is or what my race is. Just be yourself, right? I feel like, Asians aren't a monolith, right? Obviously, I'm sure on this call we have various race, ethnicity and nationality represented. Everyone's experience is different. Just tell your story, honestly. Just because that we're Asians doesn't mean that we're alike, right? So tell your unique story. Really kind of bring that to life. That would be my answer to that. So kind of moving on to the next pre-submitted question. Could you please share your experience of starting at CBS and joining the ABA? Yes, love to share this. I'll start, right? Starting at CBS, yes, it was a really nerve-wracking experience coming in, right? You're kind of like joining your cluster for the first time. You're meeting new friends. You have this sort of anxiety of how is it going to be, like, am I going to make new friends, and how am I going to come off, like, there's a lot of questions in your mind, and it's just it's very exciting, but it's also kind of nerve-wracking at the same time, right, coming into this. But I can assure you, like, just sitting where I am today, it's all going to be fine, and it's going to be great. It's going to be the best years of your life, like, no exaggeration. You're going to love the people, like, no matter where you end up, no matter like what your interests are, you'll always find kind of your kindred spirits, really sharing your passion, sharing your interests. I think my experience has been great, and especially since joining the ABA, both Jesse and I started ABA as the AVP Associate Vice President for the social chair, and we got to plan some pretty cool events. And I personally really kind of enjoyed planning that, the planning aspect of it, and executing on that. And more importantly, when I send out these like events, people really just kind of think that I'm the fun one, right? I'm sending out these like event invites, and they're asking me about, hey, what is this about? People come chat with me. So it was a really good way to kind of get involved. So I loved the experience so much that I decided to kind of run for a co-president along with Jesse. So in a nutshell, this is an unforgettable experience that I would never have again in my lifetime. Jesse, what about you?
My experience is very similar. I think when I came to CBS, I wanted to participate in like admission. So I was in Hermes, which is you probably know is the group that do outreach for the prospective students. And then I really want to be involved in the Asian business or the Asian community, because I think we just need a louder voice on the table or in any discussions going on at the school level. So that is why I initially was involved as a social chair, and now we both wanted to raise our voices in all the discussions about the DEI or about student community that we decided to run. So I will think that it's a great experience for sure. It definitely has its challenges, but I think what we are doing right now can really create a long-lasting impact going forward. So I think I really liked my experience, because I feel like we've been growing ABA as a group in a very large, scalable way. Like we have a lot more members this year. We work with a lot more student clubs this year on campus, or we're planning to work with the local Asian community as well. So there's just a lot of opportunity for us to raise our voice, because as Asian, we just have to be assertive and kind of like encouraging ourselves to really stand up for ourselves and fight for ourselves, or participating in any conversation that you think you should be part of. So with that note, Ethan, do you want to talk about the DEI if you feel like it?
Yeah, no, I think we I mean, obviously, we are part of the CBS community, right? And we want to, and we, like Jesse said, I think everything Jesse said has been great, right? We want to kind of collaborate with other clubs, and we want to kind of raise awareness for our club as well. And then we do that in a number of ways. We're going to have a discussion with the BBSA club to kind of, further the conversation about sort of the racial tension, the racial divide in America, right? So, I think events like that really kind of bring us to the forefront of conversation about the DEI. So I think, I'm very excited about it, and I look forward to, events like those.
Yeah, just one thing,
go ahead, Jesse.
One thing to add about that. I think a lot of biases or a lot of misunderstanding are coming from like you not knowing the culture, you not knowing the background. I think prejudice coming from ignorance from my perspective. So I think one way we're trying to do is trying to engage a larger community. Like I think last year, a lot of Asian international clubs have like a series of like Ask a Chinese or Ask a Korean or Ask a Japanese to really showcase who we really are and our culture and our core value. And a lot of people participated. Not only, for the broader CBS community. I think that kind of events or whatever we're doing right now is really to give a broader understanding for those people that don't really understand or know Asian culture to, to help them understand our perspectives and to facilitate conversation going forward. So there's just a lot of more stuff we're trying to do, either with the admission or with the Office of Student Affairs or with the Dean office, to really push our voice forward, like I mentioned a couple of times. I think school itself has a series of DEI initiatives of like mandatory unconscious bias training, a lot of workshops, a lot of coaching sessions, particularly for people that, you know, was under a lot of pressure during the hard time under COVID. So school has been pushing a lot for that as well. So we're working with them to see if there's anything we wanted to add, or as an Asian community, how we can facilitate that conversation with the larger Asian community as well. But we can talk more about this. Like, there's just a lot of stuff is going on that I try to organize that thought. If you're really, really interested, reach out to me or Ethan, and we can tell you more about that.
Yeah, and then Sherry, I hope that answers your question. I just saw your what you typed in the chat. Yeah, specific to the George Floyd protest and other sort of incidents. You know, I mentioned the event, the collaboration with BBS, which stands for Black Business Student Association, by the way. So our collaboration with them is going to be a panel, and for the panel, we're going to invite professors and subject matter experts, and you know, BBSA is going to invite sort of certain speakers or panelists, and from our side, we're going to invite Professor Dan Wang, who is a distinguished, professor here at Columbia, and he is very knowledgeable in this subject area. And you know, we're looking to kind of get his father involved as well. As this is a TBD, but his father actually studied, the history, right? The history of sort of the racial tension in America. So we're going to bring a lot of great perspectives into the discussion, and we're gonna kind of drive these insights among the two clubs. So yeah, very much looking forward to that. Hope that answers your question. So the next question, I'll just go down the list of the pre-submitted question. How has the club benefited us personally, Jesse? Do you wanna start with that?
It has been benefiting me in a lot of ways. I think I feel more comfortable sharing my culture roots with other people, because we are constantly in the talk with other affinity clubs. So you do want to share your unique perspective into all the conversations you have been engaged in. And second is the network. I made a lot of long-lasting friends in the club itself. And third is more of like different perspectives. Like, as you know, like we have a lot of Chinese student clubs, Koreans, Japanese, Southeast Asian, like I mentioned. So ABA really did a good job of building the bridge among different clubs. Like without ABA, like, well, ABA is kind of facilitating a lot of conversation among different Asian affinity clubs and really push people forward to hang out with people from different Asian culture, not only the non-Asian affinity groups. So I think we did a really good job of really uniting all the Asian students together, even though we have very, very different cultural background. Like, we might look the same, but the culture is very different. So how would you kind of manage different key stakeholders, think about their perspective, and engage in a conversation that's applicable to every single one of them? It is something that we're currently working on. So I benefit a lot from those conversations, benefit a lot from talking to people that is maybe not from China. And I think it was just a really good experience in general.
Yeah, no, that's I would definitely agree with that. You know, I think for me personally, I think ABA for me, you know, on top of what Jesse said, right? I've just really I've really enjoyed kind of working with different people, just the diversity of backgrounds, diversity of experience. You know, our VPs all come from all walks of life, and as I get to know them, it's just a very it's very enriching. It's a very enriching experience for me personally, and you know, that's I would say that's that has benefited me very much personally there. So the next question that we have on the pre-submitted question list is that what is the most active way to get involved in the Asian Business Association as a first year? So I think we talked about, the officer becoming, the leadership opportunities in ABA, becoming associate vice president in your first year. I think that's the best way to get involved. You get, hands-on real responsibilities to kind of organize events and talk to people and doing the outreach to the other clubs. So depending on the function, so you'll be entrenched right away. So I would say that's I would definitely recommend doing that. Like I said, Jesse and I were both officers of ABA in our first year, and it was a very, very rewarding experience.
Yeah, just to add, well, not add on, but like there's a question in the chat is asking whether schools are treating or including Asians in the D&I conversations. It's a good question. So I think my understanding is everyone needs to have a voice, no matter which cultural background you're from. And ABA historically is very focused on social events. Like we do a lot of social events to strengthen the network within the club, but because of a lot of things that have happened. And I think it's really the time for us to proactively reach out either to the school or to the other affinity clubs to really address this issue, because frankly speaking, like initially I just didn't think that I was part of the conversation. Like personally, I'm not saying any other people feel the same way, because I am, as an international, I didn't really understand like a lot of American politics, where where the root of conflicts coming from. But once I joined ABA, I realized a lot of people are very passionate about this topic. Like Ethan are really, really passionate about this topic. And I learned a lot from him. I learned a lot from other people that's born and raised in America. And we realized we need to do a lot more than just be a social club. So again, happy to talk about concrete action items that we've been putting in, but school has been very welcoming to include us into the conversation. But we're doing our part to proactively reaching out, proactively engaging in conversations, hosting panels, talk to the non-Asian counterparts to host events, or including professors who are industry professionals into this conversation. So I will say that nothing's going to happen if you don't proactively reaching out. It's not just from an Asian perspective. I'm sure it's going to be the same club. Nothing's going to happen if you don't proactively do something. And we are doing it, at least comparing to several years before, that we're currently doing this right now. And I think CBS does provide a really good platform for us to voice our opinion as Asian in general. So yeah, this is definitely something on the school's radar, it's something on our radar, it's something on the entire student club's radar that we are participating and we're engaging and we're proactively reaching out. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting, right? Because if you look at the history of Asian Americans, we as a group were pretty active, during the civil rights era, and but we somehow got this perception of that we have been a little bit inactive in that respect. So, like Jesse said, we're definitely trying to kind of change that perception and narrative, especially within CBS. So let's move on to the next question. I think we somewhat addressed this. How have you found the Asian network to be useful when looking for future opportunities? I think it's really the relationship that you build, right? That's one. Get to know the people, get to know their stories, and because chances are they will be doing the same thing that you're interested in. Just having kind of the same people in your industry would pay a tremendous dividend down the road. So I mean, I personally found a lot of people sort of doing investment management, and I was able to kind of pick the brains of a lot of my colleagues and a lot of second years. So I would say that a lot of my growth so far in CBS has been because of the Asian network, right? Even now, I actually went to dinner earlier this week with an alumni who was in the Asian Business Association. He's in a hedge fund, and we had dinner, and he's basically took me under his wing right? I'm now his apprentice, so he kind of connected me with other sort of PMs and other people that he knows in the network. So you really never know who is going to be your champion and your ally when you look for opportunities. So I would say just kind of get lost in sort of the opportunities to mingle and just meet all sort of people and just really expand your network. And I think it would definitely pay dividend down the road. Would you agree with that, Jesse?
Oh yeah, for sure. I echo everything you said. My best friends are all from ABA, and I of course from my cluster as well. So definitely get a lot of help professionally from those people who are alumni. Just want to shift gears a little bit. I know there's a lot of questions in the Q&A asking about like your time commitment, how many clubs are you involved in, and the young applicants. So I want to start with the young applicants because I got a lot of questions on that. I am a young applicant. Well, not really, but I graduated college in 2016. So I only had 3 years of work experience, and I've never changed job. So I think, first of all, if I can do it, you all can also do it. I don't think my background is very unique in any way. Like I came from consulting, which is a very popular industry, and I worked 3 years. So I will say really showcase in your essay about, it's just my opinion, not the admission. So I'm gonna sign the waiver here. But I think it's really about your unique perspective, what do you wanna do, and how CBS can contribute to your long-term goal. I don't think that age really matters here. Like I've seen people that's younger than me in my class. I've seen people who's like 36, which is a lot older than me in my class. So don't let the young applicants or lack of experience stopping you from applying to MBA. If you think the time is right, if you think that CBS is a thing that can get you to where you want to be, then definitely apply. I'm happy to answer any other questions regarding that if you wanted to reach out. But again, like if I can do it, I think you all can also do it.
You're too humble, Jesse. You're too humble.
I just think everyone is unique in their own way. And I'm sure that I'm unique in my own way, and Ethan can probably tell you about my uniqueness. But what I'm saying is just don't let any other external factors stopping you from doing it. I know it's a very, very, very hard time, and like you gotta do what you gotta do. In terms of in terms of the leadership, Ethan, what kind of clubs are you involved in?
Jesse, maybe I'll just kind of jump in since we talked about we're on the topic of age. I think someone asked a question about sort of the age distribution attending our events, right? So I would say the age distribution is as wide as the typical age distribution for Columbia applicants, right? So you have someone like Jesse, and then we also have EMBA students, right? Executive MBA students who are typically older, and they, we actually have an EMBA VP for us. He's in charge of the professional chair, and he's doing a lot of things for us, including kind of getting more involvement and getting more involvement from the EMBA class. So it's really nothing is too young for you, nothing is too old for you to do at CBS. So we're definitely very inclusive, and we make these events kind of open to everyone. And I think and we also make events like for non-drinkers, drinkers alike. So a lot of these kind of events will be kind of catered to everyone. So you never have to worry about sort of your age when you join ABA. Sorry, Jesse, I cut you off. What was your question to me?
No, so there is a bunch of questions about what other clubs are you part of?
Got it.
And what is the time commitment that you put on your leadership positions for the clubs you're involved in?
Gotcha. And I think just a time check, I think Ali is saying that we have 5 more minutes left. So my club, so how many clubs I'm in, right? Or what other clubs? That's the question?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I think everyone who joins CBS is in a lot of clubs, right? people definitely tend to kind of go overboard and with clubs, and that was definitely my experience, right? Because you have, the fear of missing out is real. You wanted to do everything, right? So I joined for professional clubs. I joined SEMA, which is the Columbia Student Investment Management Association. I joined the Data Analytics Club. I joined a whole bunch of different professional clubs, but I also joined the Wine Club, obviously ABA, and then GCS, which is Greater China Club. And then the Public Speaking Club, and all these clubs that are just kind of on my list, and it's a lot of time, and you can never be as involved in all the clubs. You kind of have to pick and choose, but the option is there. The diversity of clubs is there for you to kind of pick and choose. So and was that the question, or is there another part of the question to that, Jesse?
And how many leadership positions you held?
Okay, got it. So in my first year, I had leadership positions in 2 clubs. One is ABA. I was a social chair. Very much enjoyed that. And the other one is with the Data Analytics Club, because I used to work with Accenture, and I was the sort of the external chair. My job was to kind of bring speakers, and I basically had to tap into my network to kind of get people to come to speak to our clubs. So I think they were both very, very enriching experience. But I definitely really enjoyed ABA just because of all the reasons that we stated just now.
Mm-hmm. I think we
Yeah.
have question.
Maybe one more.
Yeah.
one more, two more questions. Yeah, what are some of the events that we should look forward to as a first year? I think as far as ABA goes, we have really, really great events for you to meet people. My personal favorite is the pod dinner. So what that is that we split up a group of 40 people into 4 or 5 different groups of 8 or 10, depending, and we'll have separate locations for each group to have dinner. And then it's a very intimate sort of setting where you can chat and really get to know one another. And then at the end of the dinner, we'll kind of converge at a single event to kind of just all hang out, right? So I would say that's probably my favorite event. And the other one is we have the other one I personally kind of led last year was the excuse me. We took a trip to MOCA, which is the Museum of Chinese Americans. So we took a trip there, and we got a tour in the museum, which is all about kind of the history of Chinese Americans as well as Asian Americans. It was just very eye-opening, sort of the struggles that the immigrants had in this country and how far we've come. Obviously, we have a lot more work to do, right? But it was a very, very eye-opening experience. So there were a lot of people showed up. The interest was really, really great. And afterwards, we just kind of went to a restaurant down the street, and we all had dinner, and we all kind of just connected over what we saw on the tour. So those would be my favorite events, and I think those and some of the other events you can definitely look forward to as well.
Yeah, totally agree. I think for time purpose, I guess we'll just share like some suggestions or tips, not even suggestions, but hopefully we can help you in the process of you exploring your MBA opportunities. So when I first applied at business school, I know that I am, not very unique, as I mentioned, consulting Asian. The profile is pretty overrepresented, like that's kind of my guess. But then you just have to think about that there are a lot of unique perspectives you can offer as a minority in US or as an international student that have a global perspective. And if you come to CBS, you will meet a lot of people that come from, let's say, China, Korea, or Southeast Asia. They're doing wonderful things. Like they can be former very famous investors that understand the entire investment landscape. They're going to be like news anchor that used to be in China and then came to here for the business school. So don't let the quote unquote over-representativeness discourage you from applying. Like, we all want you to join the community if you have something to add and if you have a different mindset or perspective. Like I said, if I can do it, you can do it as well. Like, I don't think that my experience are like super, super different. So definitely apply to CBS. If you're interested, when I was debating between schools, I think CBS offers a huge diversity network that I can tap into, especially people from Asia Pacific. There are a lot of interesting people there. So definitely encourage you to apply if you think about MBA in general.
Yeah, maybe one last thing, you know, we talked about sort of your mission or your application process. Definitely get to know each and every school, and you know, I mentioned the culture of CBS and ABA. Definitely get to kind of get an understanding of what that culture is, and I will say that for CBS, the culture is absolutely a differentiation. And you know, I would love to kind of I hope to see some of you next year. That will be really awesome. So I want to thank all of you for your time and your interest in ABA as well as Columbia. Yeah, well, we look forward to kind of seeing some of you on campus next year.
Yes, thank you so much to everyone who tuned in today. It was great having you all get to know Jesse and Ethan. So thank you again. Definitely keep an eye on our website, as we are always posting new events and new ways to connect with our current students and admissions. So we can't wait to see your applications, and definitely continue to reach out if you do have any questions. Have a great weekend, everyone.